Hey guys,
I'm Hallee,
and I'm Jamie.
and this is Literal Nonsense.
Hey guys.
Hello!
So,
Welcome back!
I feel like I'm living in
Groundhog's Day.
Groundhog's Day or like Inception or something bad. Any of the bad ones. So, we've recorded this now
3 times.
Well, this is the twice one for this one.
This is true. The other one was also twice.
But we think we figured it out, maybe. I don't know. I have no idea. So basically, long story short, last episode was going to be from pages 1 to 261. It ended up being pages 1 to roughly 205, because we then just kind of like wanted to finish the recording, and the mic wasn't great that we had to like finish with. So we were like, honestly, instead of a whole 30 minutes of shittiness, let's just like finish somewhere. So we got to like page 205-ish, I would say. And basically we ended off that Violet has now bonded Tarn and Andarna, and she found out that she's like tied to Xaden now pretty much forever because Tarn and Sagal are bonded, so now they are bonded. Unsure if we said this last episode or not, but Tarn and each rider, like, the bond gets stronger, so they're speculating if Violet dies, Tarn dies, mates are interconnected, so then Sagal dies, and then as we know, when a dragon dies, their rider dies, then Xaden dies. So basically everyone's life is in Violet's hands, which is not a good place to be. I mean, she's ain't better. I wouldn't be, like, thrilled.
No.
Like,
I'd be pretty upset, probably.
yeah. So they're all tied together. Now it's like a forced proximity situation, which we love. So with that being said, this episode now, LOL, is going to be chapter 18 through the end of the book, which is roughly pages 207 through like 498. That's the goal. That's the hope and the dream.
Okay, but like also, Onyx Storm comes out in one day.
Yeah, tomorrow? Oh, wow. So that's how far behind we are. Basically. Yeah. I'm like excited, but then I just started panicking a little over here.
We're gonna finish the book in like a day. I don't know about you, but I'm gonna eat it up.
Like, we honestly, you guys might be hearing this recording tonight if all goes well. Just mass publishing. Here you go. Have at it. So, we're pretty much going to just breeze right on through what we were gonna cover last episode, because then this part gets way more exciting.
I know, and I feel like also too, it's like all like the crazy meaty stuff happens like towards the end.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. There's not like that much crazy to chit chat about.
Yeah, like, it was fine. It was fine.
Yeah.
Like, we chatted about it last time, like when it was supposed to be an episode, part 1. It's relevant, but like there's way better stuff. So yeah. So basically, we left off where I just told you guys, and so now everyone wants to kill Violet because Tarn is super strong, and so they want to like try to kill her while the bond is weak, and then be able to bond Tarn themselves. So, because of this, Violet one night is just dreaming, having some nice dreams.
She's in a little silk nightie.
She loves a silk nightie, this girl. Which,
She really does.
yeah.
I'm here for it. In a war college. Interesting. Anyways. And she's just, sleeping, and all of a sudden, like, Tarn is, like, in her dreams, screaming at her, like, wake up, Violet, wake up! And she's like, what's going on? She wakes up, and there are 7 people
in her room.
in her room with weapons, just all, like, ready to pounce. And she's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, and that's not good. So one of them runs away, And then she's fighting off these people. She's obviously not doing, like, great, because there's 7 of them.
And she's probably, like, still, like, half asleep.
Yeah, that's a rough... I would just die.
Talk about, like, a crazy lucid dream.
Yeah, no. Fuck that. So then...
Take me.
She, like, the dragons are in her head, and, like, Tarn's like, hold on, he's almost there. And you're like, oh, of course it's Xaden.
Mm-hmm.
Fine.
We know who's on the way.
I'm like... And I'm just imagining him, like... running in panic through the hallways. Bro, this is going to be the thirstiest episode of all time. I actually don't even mind recording it again because I'm sweating. So he's not going to get there in time because she's like pretty much like about to have like the death blow made to her. And then Darna like screams mine and like freezes time. Which I was like, oh, alright. Great.
That came out of left field.
Well, so I don't know if they mentioned it yet or we find out after, but like apparently Feathertails, because they're like the baby dragons, they don't give their riders like a signet. They just give them like raw, unfiltered power.
I think it's after.
Yeah, so
because
like,
I think Violet's like, what the fuck?
Right. So like that's why that happened. So Violet takes that like 5 seconds just to like get out from under the person's arm, and she looks and like Xaden like kicked in the door and is like
he's just standing there in the door frame with like all his shadows, and you're just like,
I would have taken such advantage of him being frozen. I don't know what I would have done, but I would have done something.
Just would have ran straight into those arms.
Yeah, which I mean,
hold on tight, spider monkey.
Maybe if like, you know, he has like knives, like he might stab me by accident, so like not the best plan, but I would have risked it for him.
Nah, he wouldn't have.
Okay. So
it's Violet we're talking about here.
True. So time unfreezes. Xaden's like a little confused because Violet is like not where she was a second ago. And Xaden basically just merged everyone, which I'm like, yeah, you did.
Love it. So good. So
I love him.
good.
I love him.
Like, I really am, you know, just so hooked in by the, like, I will burn down the world for you.
Yes, yes. Which, he should be like that. Great. So...
I will cover this land in darkness for you.
Yeah, I'm like, do whatever you want.
Smother me with your shadows.
Yeah, it's fine. Like, choke me with them. I don't care. That would be crazy. That's like very, Dorian...
Haviliard, I think.
Sure.
Love Dorian too. I mean, don't get me started on Dorian.
Right, but Xaden, I think, takes the cake for me for all men ever. Anyways, so...
I know, but Dorian's got some really good one-liners.
He does.
Like, way better than Xaden.
I don't know. We don't see enough of Dorian, I think.
This is true.
Dorian's from Throne of Glass, guys, if you live under a rock.
Yeah, but, like, you know, Manon asks him, you know, like, what color is your blood? And he was like, I'll bleed whatever color you want. And you're like, fuck.
Okay, well, also, this series isn't over, so I argue Xaden could have...
This is true.
Like, that happened later.
Yeah, I'm not saying, you know, there's no hope for Xaden. Obviously, he's my favorite as well. But
yeah, there's much hope. Anyways, so, whatever. So, Xaden...
I digress.
His BFFs, Garrick and Bodhi, who are, like, awesome. Garrick is very Emmett from Twilight-esque. Bodhi is, like, a puppy. I don't know, it's kind of...
No, not a puppy.
Like, a better... Like, well, puppies could be, like, a little badass, too. He's, like, a badass puppy. He's, like, nice. He's, like, he's, like, a cousin I would want.
I just think he's,
cousin.
like a nicer version of Xaden.
Yeah.
A more welcoming version of Xaden.
Yeah.
Anyways. But yeah, and Violet also has a bodyguard. A bodyguard.
Yes.
Liam.
So those are, like, Xaden's, like, main crew.
Mayari.
Yeah. Is Garrick, Bodhi, and Liam. So Garrick and Bodhi clean up the bodies. Violet goes with Xaden, and she's like, what the fuck? So they go to their dragons.
Take care of these bodies for me real quick.
And they're such loyal friends, they don't even question.
You know what to do.
Yeah, they're like, got it. Aye, Captain. So they go to the dragons. That's when they find out about Andarna being a baby, and like that she can give all this power, which is what happened.
Yeah. And so she's like wiped out, so she's like sleeping.
Yeah, and so then Violet, tells Xaden, because he's like, how did they get in the room? And she's like, oh, someone left. And he asks her who it was. Now, he believes her completely without fail. Is that a sign of his trust in her? Is that a sign of his second signet? We will chat later about this. But either way, he believes her. And so the next day, they're in, like death roll call. Whatever. Morning announcements.
That's a pretty brutal morning announcement.
Like, morning.
Good morning. Yeah.
Did not make it.
Yeah. Here are your your fallen comrades, we commend their souls to Malik.
Amen. God bless. So Xaden walks up and he tells, the guy, is it Panchek who makes the announcements?
Panchek?
Panchek? Is it he who makes the announcements?
I think so.
Okay, well, Panchek is making the announcements, and he was like, oh, well, we have a breach in Codex, like, whatever, and Violet's like, oh my god, it's about me. Like, fuck my life. So...
Xaden steps up to the podium, and he's like,
yeah.
There's been a murder. No.
Attempted murder, I mean, whatever.
No, there actually was a murder.
Well, there was, but he killed everyone. But
yeah,
he announces that Amber, another
bitch.
wing leader,
Loser.
is the one who unlocked all the doors. And here we have fucking Dane being a shining star again.
Yeah, so Dane immediately, turns to Violet. And I just, imagine him, grabbing her by the shoulders. Like, tell him he's wrong! Tell him he's wrong, Violet! And Violet's like, what the fuck? Because obviously she told Xaden. So it's not like he's just pulling this out of his butt. And, Violet's like, fuck off. And the fact that, Dane doesn't believe Violet, this is your best friend for years. I mean, come on, bro. I get you have a history with this Amber chick, but,
Well, right, and Amber's also, a fucking rule follower, gold star kind of bitch.
Mm-hmm.
And, so A, it's fucked up that she broke the rules. B, of course her and Dane were together. What a bunch of fucking vanilla losers.
Was this in the episode that we recorded and...
Yes. I said Dane is a strictly missionary kind of guy. I'm sorry, that's
what
all
did
he
you
does.
say? What did you say? This is how it's supposed to be, Violet, right?
Yeah, he's this is it. This is how it's supposed to be. Dane is I'm a rule follower, missionary only, and he's quite frankly, in my opinion, not even worth the body count number that he would be. He's a waste of a body. Hot take. And again, Dane's hot. We've seen fan art. Dane is a good looking man. But I'm sorry, that's almost worse. When you're super hot and can't break the rules, I'm what's wrong with you?
Or super tight A. Yeah. Tight ass, type A.
Yeah.
Fucking loser.
Chill
bro. Out, bro.
And so in this interaction, he's trying to his signet is he can
watch memories.
Yeah, watch memories when he touches your face. So he goes to reach for her, and she was absolutely the fuck not.
Yeah.
Because they told Violet, you cannot tell anyone what Andarna's power is, that she's a baby, whatever. So Violet wouldn't mind showing him, but she has this secret. And then also, he didn't even ask, he just lunged for her, and she's like, hey, I'm your best friend, how about you just believe me?
Mm-hmm.
You piece of shit.
And he didn't believe her.
And then,
until
mm-hmm.
Violet asked Tarn to share her memory with all the other dragons, and then all the other dragons will show that memory to their riders. So then it's oh yeah, there's legitimate proof here.
And then that was it. And then fucking Tarn burns the shit out of Amber. Bye, Amber. Done.
She is dust.
Dust. And then the part that we were going to originally end at ends with Violet and her bodyguard Liam. We love Liam. They're on library duty, and they get scrolls about battle updates, things
mm-hmm.
like that. And they get a scroll, and it falls and it opens, and they see there's been an attack on this town, Somerton. And it's not confidential, so we'll learn about it in battle brief.
They don't.
They go to battle brief, they don't mention any of it, and they're was that confidential? But they know it wasn't, and so we know now there's some sketchy happenings
going on, yeah, for sure.
Some sketchy happenings afoot.
Yeah, so I feel that really sets the stage for the next part of the book, because now it's now we're kind of unraveling.
Yeah.
What is really happening.
Yeah.
Is Nevers all as it seems? Time
Stay
to go
tuned.
down the rabbit hole.
And so really, what happens the second half of the book...
And you're watching Disney Channel.
I want to, I wish I knew how to edit things good enough to do that, but I don't. So the second half of the book, really, all that happens as far as plot...
I just want to talk about our highlights, man.
Yeah.
Specifically, 2 highlights.
Yeah. No, literally. So, plot-wise, it's almost less than part 1. There's not,
so
parapet, conscription, threshing. It's less than that. So, basically, the 2 second parts of this is just Violet and all the other riders are manifesting their signets and, trying to, go to classes for that. And then before graduation, there's war games. And that's really the two main things that are going on in, like, this part of the book.
Yeah.
But as far as now that the plot is, like, calming down slightly, the rest of it.
Starts to get a little steamy.
Wow. So...
Okay, so let's just jump head first.
Dive right in.
Xaden and Violet.
Xaden and Violet.
Okay,
so
let's begin with the dragons.
Yes. Because right away this happens. So before
it wasn't that far in.
A signet, like the dragons have to choose to give all their power to the rider, and then it's like a countdown till their signet manifests.
Yeah, the signet will manifest after the power.
So Tarn finally is like...
He shares his power with Violet. But, okay, so...
Uh-oh.
For this reread, because obviously we read this book before, I couldn't remember when this scene happened, but I remember, like, reading, like, our first, like, half of the book for the first episode of this book. Can't speak. And I was like... Flustered. I'm just thinking about it. And I'm like, oh my god, when is the scene coming? When is the scene coming? And then it came.
It came. The vengeance.
But anyways, and I literally remember my first initial reaction, right? Okay, so just to set the scene, Violet's in her room, and she's like, just hanging out or whatever, and all of a sudden she gets like, this like, tingles all over her body, and she's like, why am I feeling like this?
Well, and she like opens the door because she just feels like
strange,
but like I think she's starting to realize
she's
like
horny. She's like really like hot and bothered, but so, like she was just chilling, you know.
So
like
she's like, what? And then she opens the door and Liam's there, and he's like, are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, what? Why? And he's like, you look weird. And like she's like debating like, should I just fuck Liam? And like you're like, oh, this is spiraling.
Yeah. I mean, I would have been there for her and Liam for sure.
Same.
That would have been.
Also, you're in
that would have been great.
School full of dragon riders who are all sexy. So like, really,
everything's high stakes.
She should just go on a path. She should just do one after the other.
I mean, everybody else is. She's the only one who hasn't. So imagine like her own like feelings, like she's having like not gotten with anyone, and now all of a sudden, you know, there's this giant fucking dragon channeling all his lust
Horniness.
like into her. Not like the dragon has a thing for Violet, but that's a different territory and a different type of book.
It's because Tarn and Sagal are like having sex, so
the emotion, just like they could talk to each other in their mind, like their emotions also flow back and forth. But like Violet doesn't know what the fuck's happening, right?
It's like the first time that all of his like the channels are like wide open.
Yeah, so she's like, I need to get out of here before I either fuck Liam or something else
runs
happens.
Outside. Like,
yeah, so
like, I need fresh air.
She needs to cool down. So she runs outside, and guess who's like leaning against the wall, fucking smoking weed? Our boy Xaden. And you're just like, yes, let it begin. Let it begin.
And oh my god, imagine like you're already just like horny for no reason.
I know.
And then you see that. I would pass out. I think I'd be so overwhelmed.
Yeah, my body would just turn off.
Like
Blackout.
I can't even breathe right now.
I know.
It's like not me, unfortunately.
I know. We're just so excited.
Wow. So she's like, "Hey, what's up?" Like,
this is my favorite scene in the book.
Yes. And so he's like basically tells her like, "Oh, like Tarn and Sagal obviously are like getting it on, and I'm smoking because this helps me relax." And he's like, "You gotta learn to like
block him out."
Like he's channeling to you now. Like this is your first experience with it.
So he like teaches her how to. What do they call that?
I don't know. I was hoping you remembered because I don't.
Oh,
ground.
No, she has to ground herself. But
so you do this? I think it's just blocking. It might not be. Whatever. Well, I can look. I'll find the quote anyways. But start explaining their situation.
Yeah. So he's like, you gotta learn how to do this. Blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden they're like super close to each other, and you're like, oh, yes, let's have this happen, please. So, you know, like they're very breathy, you know, their faces are slowly inching closer and closer. Wow. And, you know, they're like looking deep into each other's eyes, and like you could feel the angst and the lust and the forbidden love and the forced proximity, but like also like the anger and like a little bit of hatred, and you're just like, wow, this is just great.
And so they're like talking about. I got the quote.
Oh, amazing.
So they're talking about like
Yes.
the grounding. I think it is just called grounding and blocking. Whatever.
Sure.
Anyways, so basically, he says to her that you are astonishing, which I forgot that even happened because like she like
was
learned.
that like accompanied by like a little like
Well,
caress?
he's studying her with an intensity that makes me sway toward him. So not a caress, but equally as good. And says, you are astonishing. Amazing already, great word. Amazing
On the floor.
vocabulary.
On the floor already. Already on the floor.
So, oh, yep. His thumb is stroking over her. Anyways, so basically he says,
What did I say?
touching you was a bad idea.
I know my scene. No.
Right. Touching you was a bad idea. And then he groans. Stop. And says, kissing you would be a cataclysmic mistake. And she says,
Cataclysmic?
right. Calamitous. And then
Calamitous.
he says, we'll both regret it. And she says, naturally. And then he says, fuck it.
And then just takes her. Oh.
I actually wanted to pass out.
I have goosebumps. I
Yes.
literally have goosebumps right
Yes. And, okay, also I want to mention, too, I don't know if we've mentioned it here or not. Spoiler, we're going to say it in like 5 minutes. It doesn't really matter. But Violet's signet is lightning. And he references later in the book saying like, oh, I knew what it was. I was just waiting for it to manifest. And she was like,
Yeah,
when
he was.
did you know?
Yeah, he was like, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, and then she says, when did you know? And he says, our first kiss. And I read it, and it says, like, she was like, I surrendered to him completely, whatever, and then they're, like, making out. And it says, a flash of light burns behind my closed eyes, followed by a boom of thunder. So, like, she was already channeling. Interesting. But this is the sexiest scene of all time.
Yeah.
Like, hands down.
I imagine it's, like, probably, like, just, like, flirting, just,
Yes,
like, a little...
it is flirting. Absolutely flirting. That's like baby making weather. Like they're just like
Yeah, and it's like dark and like gloomy, but like there's like one like light like from the corner, so everything's like super shadowy.
oh my god. They're so fucking hot. as a
Rebecca
couple.
knows how to set the scene.
Rebecca. So they're just making out. They're giving into their temptation finally. So this whole next part of the book is...
And you're screaming, you're kicking your feet,
Oh
you're
my God.
giggling.
Screaming, dying, panicking,
So
sweating.
good, but then he pulls away and you're like, fuck.
Well, because and then he says, like, she's like, let's go upstairs right fucking now. And he's like, wait, like, technically, like, you're not even, like, consenting because, like, this is, like, the feelings began because of Tarn.
Yeah.
So I'm like, first of all, this
So
man
he-
is killing people for me. He now is just saying fuck it and making out with me with, like, the passion of 1,000 men. And now he's like, but I draw the line at making sure you're consensual. I'm like, even better.
Yeah. Check.
I mean...
Check.
Like,
Check.
literally, if
Check.
you have the list of morals and he has all in the X category, everything else, but then, like, the check is consent and that's it, fine. Fine.
Yeah. Oh my god, he's so good.
Like, you don't need to be moral in any other way. Actually, I'd rather you not.
I don't care about what the fuck you believe in, but
As long as you make sure about consent and everything else and you're, like, a murderer and, like, a liar, I'm like, fine.
I'll turn a blind eye.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
good.
they have now, like, officially begun.
That is the best scene in the book. Rebecca, you outdid yourself with that one. You know how, like, it's, I don't know about you. Do other people think about this? I don't know. Me and my coworkers, like, always talk about, we have this debate about Bridgerton, right? Little side quest right now.
Side quest.
Yeah, so my favorite season is season 2 because I love Anthony, and I think like his like romantic line beats whatever his name was in the first.
Simon.
Yeah, Simon. So like Simon, tells what's her name, Charlotte, Elizabeth.
Daphne.
I was nowhere close. Daphne, like, oh, like his romantic line is like, I'll burn for you.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like Anthony's is like, you are the bane of my existence,
Yes.
but the object of all my desires.
I need you to hate how much you love me.
Literally. Yes.
Yeah. That's it.
It's just... Anyways, so I was telling my coworkers about the book, trying to get them to read it.
And you're like, that's the vibe.
And she's going to read it. That's all that matters.
Amazing. And so now the first kiss happened, but after this first kiss, they're like, all right, bad idea, because he's like, we can't fall in love, and she's like, fuck you, I'll do what I want, whatever. So they decide, it's fine, we're going to just, like, pump the brakes on us, But now it's war games, so, like, things are afoot anyways.
Yeah, I mean, like, and, you know, they're practicing riding their dragons, learning how to do XYZ, you know.
She doesn't know what her signet is
They're working out, yeah. So, like, people are starting to get their signets, so, like, once they do that, they can, like, go into, like, the magic class, essentially, and, like, work on, like, honing their skill, essentially. But everyone else is kind of just, like, doing, like, lesser magic in the meantime, so then, you know, they're not, like, so far behind. So, like, it's kind of like a waiting game.
It is a waiting game at this point. And again, that's why, like, this plot is kind of, like, smooth. It gives us all the room for all the
amazingness of,
the good things.
Of this thing. So the next major thing that I feel like is very great about this book is that Jack Barlow dies.
Yeah, we love it. Yeah.
So they have, like, their first, like, trial for, like, the war games, right? And they're split up into teams, and essentially, to me, it kind of sounds like Capture the Flag, but, like, on dragons.
Yes.
Which I am all about because I fucking loved Capture the Flag when I was younger. I fucking loved that game. And so, obviously, Violet's with Xaden, and Jack Barlow's on the other team. Things are going, they have to, like, get this dragon egg, but they also have to, like, protect their flag. And Jack Barlow, right out the gate, goes straight for Liam. So he's trying to kill Liam, and you're like, of all people, like, fuck you, Jack. Liam is such a good person, and you're an asshole. So Psycho Sid is in full-blown colors today. And Violet obviously loves Liam, because who doesn't love Liam? And so she's fucking pissed. And somehow, someway, Jack ends up on, like, this, like, watchtower, something. And she's just so fucking pissed that he tried to kill Liam that she fucking...
She's, like, burning up.
Yeah, she, like, throws all her energy, like, at this tower and hits it, and... That's where Jack goes. So, apparently Jack is dead, and
now,
I don't know about you, but I was clapping. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Well, Jack's dead, apparently.
But Violet's upset.
Well, and now her signet manifested, and she's
Yeah.
like, it's lightning, I'm a killer. I'm like, girl, shut the fuck up. Like, honestly, don't be annoying. This is, like, very, like, favorite-esque of her. I'm like, get over it.
Yeah, well, I think the problem...
She recovers quick.
She does recover quick. The problem, I feel, is that, you know, the whole time that she's been, you know, as a writer, she hasn't killed anyone. Which is, like, kind of unheard of, because most of the people are killing others. Whether it's, like... deliberately or not, I feel.
This is her first kill, like, ever.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think... Okay, never mind, I'm not gonna say that. But, like, I don't know, it's hitting her hard. So, like, Dane... There's two different reactions going on here. You know, Dane is very, like, coddling her, and he's like, it's okay, I'm so sorry. Like, you don't have to do this ever again. You don't have to use your lightning. He was like, you can just, you know, work at the school... and blah, blah, blah.
I'm so sick of this fucking
and
man.
Xaden just fucking speed walks right in the middle of them. And he's like, don't listen to him. And he was like, I know this was hard, but he's like, get it the fuck together. Like... Yeah,
but sometimes you need that. Cause, okay,
yeah.
Speaking as...
Well, she's besides herself, yes. You know?
And speaking as someone who is an emotional bitch, me, right here, like... There's times Ryan is legit like, get it the fuck together. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you're right. Like,
yeah.
Having someone who coddles you as an emotional person almost holds you back sometimes.
Well, because it just, like, allows you to have your pity party.
Yeah. And, like, I'm not saying there's not times where I'm like, actually, you're being an asshole. Like, I need you to relax. Which I'm sure she does with Xaden now, like, also, which we do see. But sometimes it's, like, you need to be, like, pushed like, to your limit and to know... how far you can, like, go and, like, what you can handle.
Well, I think Xaden's, you know, perspective is, like, things aren't going to change. You're just going to continue to kill more people. So you need to get used to it now. Like, accept that this happened. You know, you don't have to like it.
Right.
But this is, unfortunately, what you signed up for.
Yeah.
This is your reality now.
And she gets over this real quick because...
Real quick.
That night, she's, like, throwing fucking daggers at her, like...
Oh, should we set the scene again?
Yeah, like throwing, but what's it called?
Like a...
It's not a dartboard.
I was gonna say...
I know, me too.
I was gonna say dartboard.
Like her, like, practice, like her throwing wood. I don't fucking know what it's called. Whatever, who cares? Honestly, not even important. So she's throwing her fucking knives in her silk nightie. Bitch loves a silk nightie.
Yeah.
And she hears like a knock on the door, and I think she thinks it's someone else, because she's like,
come in.
Yeah, she's like, whatever, try like making sure I'm okay or whatever. And it's
or like Liam or something, yeah.
And it's Xaden, and I'm like,
yes. He like, just like the door, I imagine, is just like slowly is pushed open. And he's just like chilling, like in the door frame.
Obsessed. So he's like, basically make sure she's okay, and he's like, still being like, not tough on her, but it's like, yeah, like it does suck, but like, knowing what your power is, like they're gonna want you to fight. So like, you need to accept it, and like you can be sad about it, but like just like get it together.
He was like, sorry, I didn't mean to come off like an asshole, but like, you know,
right,
he was just coddling you, and that's not how it should be.
and so she's like freaking out a little bit, fine, and then he's like he's like, if you need to like fucking hit me, if you need to smack me, like do whatever you need to do, like to like get through tonight. Oh my god,
can you imagine?
And she makes the right choice C, none of the above, and she starts kissing him and was like, no, like, I need you, like, this is what...
Chills, I have chills again.
Oh, this is what I need, and he's like, okay, because, like, now she's consenting, she's asking for it, whatever. They proceed to fucking demolish her room.
Dirty dogs.
Amazing.
They're, like, the best way you can, like, I feel like you can describe it is, like, they are unleashed. Like... Yes, because just the pent up everything... Like, they're on the desk, they're throwing books across the room, he's slamming her into an armoire. Like, he's in X Games modes. Like, no doubt about it.
My mouth is dry, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's where I'm at.
Well, mine is what? But... I'm salivating over here.
Okay, yeah. So, they're just fucking...
They break everything. They do it everywhere and break everything in the room except her bed.
Because they don't even make it to the bed, which is almost better to me. Like, I'm like,
amazing.
They couldn't even,
get there. They couldn't even situate themselves. They were just like, any surface nearby, that's where we're going.
She's fucking lighting the curtains are on fire, she's blowing out the windows.
Yeah, there's a storm going on outside, like...
I mean, amazing. So here's my thing with our girl Rebecca Yarrow. First of all...
And Xaden's meeting her, like, beat for beat, man.
Amen. Literally. Quite literally. So...
Talk about the stamina. All that working out.
He's holding her the whole time.
I know, it's crazy.
Like, first of all, the arm strength, the stamina. I mean,
the endurance. Endurance.
Yeah. Something to be said about these fucking dragon riders that are training. They must all be just such fucking freaks and like go for hours.
But not Dane.
Not Dane. Missionary only, and he's like, we don't have time to do this for more than 30 minutes because we have to go do other things. We have our jobs.
I don't know, but Dane is a rider. I feel like maybe he's not so missionary.
No, he for sure is.
You know, man in the streets, freaking the sheets.
No. No, because Xaden...
Who's Xaden? Who the fuck is this?
I'm so flustered I can't even speak.
You always mix their names. You, like, always combine them.
Because I'm, like, angry. I didn't want Ding to exist ever. Anyways.
Would you say Ding?
Ding.
Oh, Ding. I think you said, I don't want Ding to exist.
Like,
who's Ding?
Their names don't make any sense anymore. Wait, so listen, I feel like Xaden is like a man in the streets and a freak in the sheets because he takes charge. Like, that's like the definition of Xaden. Dane is like a pussy in the streets and the sheets.
Yeah, but like, I would...
Like, he's the kind of guy that, like, he's like, I require a blowjob before we even get started.
Holy shit. But, like, I would argue that, like, Dane doesn't come off as a pussy to, like, other people.
Okay, maybe. Well, anyways, point being is...
I feel like I'm always trying to, like...
Fuck him. I don't know why you defend him so much.
I just like to play devil's advocate.
Well, you're just annoying, basically. So, I guess what I was going to say about the sex scene, just real quick before we keep just dying, is Rebecca Yarrow's, like, I'm sorry, again, the reason we compare this so much to Akhtar, I don't know if we have said this in an actual recording that made it, one of the ones that didn't make it,
so
whatever.
Hard to keep track nowadays.
Who knows? But we compare it to Akhtar because they're, like, both... like the popular fantasy genres going on right now. Like,
we've also read that series like 3 times.
Right. I will say Rebecca writes a way better sex scene than Sarah.
So you made the analogy last time that like
yes.
in ACOTAR it's like lovemaking.
Yes.
Or in like Fourth Wing it's fucking, you know?
Yeah. But it's like, and they're still passionate, but it's like they're fucking.
Yeah.
And I feel like, yeah, and like also this scene goes on for pages and pages, and you just keep flipping and you're like, give me more.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, like,
give me more, give me more, give me.
So, yeah, so it's so fucking good. So I just needed to make that comparison. You are right, it was the last one that you never saw or heard. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that you pointed that out again.
Yeah.
Because it is. It's like
yeah.
It's like how like Feyre and the writing is flowery. This is like down to business, passion, fucking.
Yeah, like ACOTAR is like more, dare I say, like romantic. Like in terms of like fairy tale romance. You know what I mean? Which is fine.
I like this.
This is a little bit like a little spicier.
Whew, yeah. So at this point, which God, you know. And the next big thing that happens is they have this ball.
Okay, wait a second.
Oh, what?
I'm not done yet.
About this?
Anyway, yes!
She's like, I need 5 more minutes.
Wait! So anyways, after they're both thoroughly ravished, they decide to go to sleep. Violet wakes up in the morning and Xaden's not there.
You're right.
And she's like, damn, okay, like whatever. But she rolls over and there's a vase of flowers on her bedside table. Of violets. And you're like, yeah, this guy is just so freaking good. And when she meets up with him later, she was like, oh, like you didn't want to stay the night. And he was like, oh, I had a meeting, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, oh, and you still took the time to get me flowers. Like, this man knows. This man is good. He knows what he's doing. But now we can transition to the ball.
Sorry. Also, I'm just flipping to get to the ball. And, like, I'm sorry, even, like, his one-liners, I will say, too, their head speak is, like...
Top tier.
Top tier. Way above Reese and Feyre, because that's, like, more like they're just, like, using it to, like, text each other. This is, like, flirting and, like, all of a sudden,
like unabashed flirting. In public.
Yeah, it's like sexting, but, like, better. Like... She was talking about a blowjob or something, and he was choking on his food.
Yeah, in the cafeteria,
like, wow.
yeah.
Anyways, my point is you were saying the one-liners, like, you know, sometimes, like, whatever, they're fine. But, like, they're just talking about whatever, and then basically he says to her, like, you never considered that it was you I couldn't stay away from. Like, he says, like, he's pretty smooth with it, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh, well, before the ball, I think when does she go see Mira? Before or after the ball?
I think it's after. No, it's not before.
Okay, yeah. We both just had to stay quiet to come to the same conclusion.
Yeah.
So part of their war games is they have to go to this outpost, whatever, and she runs into Mira, her sister.
Casually.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
They're so happy to see each other. I like them.
I can just imagine them like running up to each other and just like jumping in a circle.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god,
so cute. So, her family lives like an hour away from where they are stationed. So Violet and Ree go to sneak out and Mira catches them and she's like, you assholes. And Violet's like, well, I'm gonna go, so you can either come with us or I'm gonna go anyway.
Yeah.
So Mira goes, which is honestly cute because Mira's like a hard ass, but you can tell like she loves Violet. Like that, like it's like they have like a good sister relationship. Mm-hmm. So I like them. I feel like Mira is like a good character.
Yeah.
I trust her thus far.
Thus far is the key word.
Yeah. I don't know how I'll feel if I still... I do. No, I do. I think I do.
I don't know. I think Onyx Storm is going to change some things.
I agree. But thus far, I do trust Mira. So now Xaden shows up.
And you're like, yes.
Because Tarn and Sagal can't go more than 3 days without seeing each other. Because they're mated. And that's when the line I just read to you. Where he was like, do you ever think it's like just you I couldn't stay away from? And I was like...
So maybe it's not the dragons. Maybe it's me, you know?
Yeah, which is like... What a line. I mean...
Well, and the thing is that we don't know if it's really the dragons or if it's him because it's not said.
It's not like 3 days is the...
Like, their threshold.
Right. So, wow. So, basically, then, like, a little kerfuffle happens with these friends because Mira is like, what the fuck's up with Dane and Xaden? And she's like, you guys need to get it together. Dane, you're being a little bitch. Mm-hmm.
She's like, work out your shit because everyone else knows that there's something going on. And so, like, I think that puts... okay. I'm not sticking up for Dane, okay? I'm just saying how I see it, right? I'm not sticking up for him. I feel like Violet has gotten very swept up in, like, bonding the dragons, and now she's like all tempted by Xaden, and she's having all these weird feelings. She's has a signet. She's like processing a lot, whereas like Dane has already done all this stuff because he's a second year, right? So I feel like his priorities are a little bit more straight than like hers. She's kind of like all over the place.
Fine.
Okay, and so I think when something is out of order in my life, everything starts to fall out of order, right? So I feel like the reason why they keep fucking fighting all the time is because like I think it's because they're just all over the place, because they're in new situations and scenarios, and this is like the first time where they kind of look at each other and they're like, like, we are best friends, like let's try to bury the hatchet here and move forward, which I like for them. Like I like that they could be like, okay, truce, and
right, because he also, I don't think, really grasps why she's so mad. Like he knows, okay, I didn't believe her, whatever, but like there's more to it, like because like she has all these secrets and stuff now. So I think like they disagree, like that was like a stupid fight, and nothing really unforgivable has happened yet.
But I think also because he like also hates Xaden, like everyone hates Xaden. I feel like that's just like imagine, like, for example, like if you started being best friends with some bitch that I hate, and like I see you guys around all, like I'd be feeling some type of way. I'd be like, why the fuck is Jamie hanging out with this bitch? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
but like he also should understand the dragon bond and all this, and she doesn't have a choice.
Yeah, so I think that's where like his own,
and it's his male fucking pride.
Well, okay, yes, I'm not saying he's perfect. Just saying, there's a lot of factors at play here. This is why humans are they're just so complicated. Okay, and it just makes for great drama.
It does. Well,
and a great fun.
Dane does add to the drama, I'll give him that, but he irks me. Fine.
Dane is for the plot.
So, while they're at this fortress, this fucking outpost, wherever the fuck they are, they get attacked. And so Mira's like, Xaden, like, get Violet out of here. And like, he pretty much like, she fights him on it, and she's like, I'll hate you for this. And he's like, I know. Like, just, I don't... But, like,
and he's like, I know.
Love that, though.
He says,
like,
I
that
know.
He's like, yeah, like, you can hate me all you want, but I will do it to save your life. Like, I don't care.
I'd rather you hate me, despise me with, like, all your being, but knowing that you're still safe. Alive and it's safe.
Is good enough for me.
That's how I feel.
So... she doesn't know if Mira's okay. She finds out a few days later everyone's fine. They had, some, like, damage to, like, the walls and stuff, but they're okay.
God.
Now the ball.
So they have this ball every year to commemorate, like the end of the rebellion.
Yeah, the day the rebels fell.
Which means, the day that everyone was killed, essentially.
Right.
So... obviously, if they were in Nevers, like, they love this, but...
they love it.
All of the kids of the rebels are not happy, right? So they're not going to this ball because they don't want to celebrate. That's kind of fucked up.
Well, it's like the end of their parents' lives.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. They don't want to celebrate that.
No.
So,
no, you do not.
Violet ends up going, but Liam goes with her because Liam is just that good of a guy. And she was like, like, that's so fucked up that Xaden made you come. And he was like, regardless, like, I would have came to support you or whatever. And you're like, Liam, like, you were just so good. Violet's got this, like, sexy little two-piece thing going on.
Yeah.
This, like, long skirt with, like, a fucking navel-high slit.
Oh, yeah.
And a little crop top. Like, she's looking good. And they're at the ball. She sees her mom and the king. And it's all very, like...
and Dane's dad.
Yeah, and everyone's fucking giving dirty looks to Liam because he has, like, the rebellion relic. So, we also talked about this last time when the recording didn't work. So next, like, this coming year is the first year that, like, the children, the rebellion children, are gonna be, like, on the front lines with, like, everybody else who, like, stayed loyal. So they haven't had this dynamic yet, so everyone's kind of, like, up in arms and, like, unsure how to feel about it,
Yeah, because Xaden is the oldest.
Yeah, and so, like, Xaden graduates this year.
Right.
And...
which breaks my heart. Like, thinking of, like, seeing your crush every day in, like, school, quote-unquote, and they're gone and they graduate.
Yeah. Well, okay, so, like, my problem, I feel like, is, like, I love, like, a school trope. You know what I mean? Like,
same.
I love, like, they're all in school together, they're
That's
away
why,
at
like,
boarding school,
that's
you know
why
what I
Harry
mean?
Potter hits.
Yeah.
It's, like, the whole time they're in school.
Exactly. It's just so good. So, like, we really like that. Some other people don't like that.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but,
the
like...
The pilot book, we'll talk more about this at the end of this episode, but, like, the first book is always just, like, it's the first kiss, the first sex.
Well, I was concerned after finishing fourth wing, because I was like, well, if Zane's graduating,
right.
well, how is this going to work? Because they're not going to be in school together. I mean, obviously they kind of are, because he comes back all the time in the second book.
Book 2, yeah. So...
Yes!
Jesus Christ. My dog's probably like, what? Well, hold on. Before we're sending him off, and he's not even done yet.
I know.
So she's like, where is everyone? And he's like, yeah, like, they're not here, whatever. She's like, Liam, like, you're forgiven. Go. You're let go of your duty for tonight. Like, goodbye. See you. And she, like, follows her, like, mind powers towards Xaden is. Mind you, Violet's having a hard day, too, because this day specifically marks the day that Xaden's dad killed Brennan, her brother, and then that his dad died. So, like, this is the day that, like, they, like, the parents of the rebellion kids, they died, like, a week or two after. Still, this marks the end of the war, so it's, like, sad. But I'm saying, like, this is, like, the death anniversary of, like...
I'm gonna need a date and time, please.
Right. I'll let you know. So,
I feel like you said that last time, too. Are you sure it's, like, a week or 2 weeks?
Yeah, because they need to round them up. Like...
I'm sure they were all rounded up when they seated.
Yeah? I don't know.
Regardless.
Whatever. Everyone's fucking dead. So anyways, but Violet's pretty bummed, you know? And so she goes to find Liam's gone. She goes to find Xaden.
She ditches Liam.
Yeah. She says, Liam, get the fuck out of here.
She's searching for Xaden.
And she finds Garrick and Bodhi, like, guarding the parapet. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I'm going on.
Yeah. And they're like, no, he can't. And she was like, I'm gonna see him. And they were like...
Well, and they were like, we're his best friends and he doesn't want to see us. And then she's like, I'm his. I was like... We're just squealing for a whole hour and a half of recording.
Literally.
Just us screeching at people. So she, like, walks on this fucking parapet, barefoot, in a skirt, flapping around behind her, and I'm like, in the dark.
Would you ever bark for a man?
For Xaden, I would.
That's what I'm saying. Do you ever see that thing that was going around?
No.
It was on TikTok. I don't know if it ever made it to Instagram, but it was, like, the only man I'll bark for, and it was like a fan art of Xaden, and like in the background, like it like switched to like the girl, and she was like,
I mean, yeah, that's how I feel about him actually. That's like pretty. That's a pretty accurate description, if I'm being real. Yeah. So that's that. Anyways, I would bark for this man. So whatever. Violet is like, I will climb a parapet and bark for you. Fine.
Yeah. She climbs it in a skirt and barefoot.
Yeah. So she goes up
and
to
Xaden's
him.
like, no.
Yeah. So he's like a little pissed that she's risking her life for him. He's like, my shadows can save me, like, you idiot. Like, your lightning's gonna, what is it gonna do for you? So she convinces him off the parapet, and Bodhi and Garrick are gone. Like, they were like, we're, okay, bye guys.
Yeah.
So they get off, and she's basically like, come with me, like, be with me tonight. And he's like, I'm not in the place to, like, I know you're upset about Brennan, but, like, I'm not in the place to support you. Like, I'm having a hard night. And she's like, yeah, like, I don't want your support, or, like, I just want to be with you. Mm-hmm. Which I was like, damn. That's powerful, you know? It's like, she doesn't want him to, like, comfort her, because, like, Reed could comfort her, or, like, Riddick or Sawyer, like, they could be her friends and comfort her. Like, he's like, I literally can't because I'm so sad, and she's like, I just want to be with you. Like, that's comfort enough. Damn.
Yeah, and then she fucking, like, grabs his hand and, like, leads him off the parapet. And he's like, where are we going? And she was like, we're going to your room. Wow.
Balls.
Whoa. Smack me upside the head and call me silly. But, Violet, you are very forward, young lady.
So, also, I'm imagining, because I think in the book he's described as, like, 6'4", and I think she's probably, like, I'd give her 5'4" at most.
Okay.
Like, tiny. Like, a foot difference, and she's bringing him to his room. Ooh. That's good. It's just a good vibe.
Hold on tight, Spider-Monkey.
Yeah. So they get to his room and they just, same thing, have sex.
Unleash themselves.
All night. Like, multiple times, 4 times, 5 times. Whatever.
All night.
All night, which I'm just like...
Well, because they
Sorry.
Oh my god. I thought you, I swear to God, you like came forward and I'm like, she's gonna hit me. She's so excited.
I started like stimming. Oh my god. Sorry.
Well, there's like a passage, right? And they like, it's noted that they had sex like 3 times or whatever. And then like a couple paragraphs later, she was like, oh, after the 5th time. I was like, god damn.
That's so sexy. But she tells him she loves him.
Oh, yes. And he doesn't say it back.
That's fine.
But it's okay because we know how he feels.
Okay, I'm sorry, like, because I highlight my books. Hallee doesn't because she's a fucking weirdo and loser. That's fine. I'm just coming at you. Sorry. Anyway.
Holy shit.
But he said, have I told you how beautiful you look tonight? If not, I'm a fool because you are magnificently beautiful. Like, I'm sorry, do you forget the things that he says? Yeah. I wanted you from the first second I saw you. Like, come on, bro.
Chills.
Brother.
I have chills.
I don't deserve you, but I'm going to keep you all the same.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Wow.
That's a good one.
Whoa. Oh. Well, anyway, she tells him she's wildly in love with him. Now, I don't mind he doesn't say it back because his actions, like, the way he's kissing her and, like, being passionate.
We, like know.
Yeah, and, like, she's, like, I'm actually, like, even she's, like, I'm cool with him not saying it because, like.
Mm-hmm. Well, because then also, after the first time they have sex, right, and they destroy the room, doesn't Xaden say, like, oh, like, we should, like, not do this again?
Well, he tells, after they have sex the first time, he's like, you can't fall in love with me. And then, after this time, she's pretty much, or before this time, she's like, I'm gonna fall in love with you whether I want to or not. Yeah. Fuck you.
I know, but, after that first time, whatever, and he was like, oh, like, you can't fall in love with me, like, we shouldn't do this, blah, 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 blah. You know, Violet is like, oh, like, maybe there's somebody else. You know what I mean?
And then he's saying here, like,
and
that's
she,
only you.
yeah, and she asks him, like, in class, like, oh, is there somebody else? And he gets, like, all mad and, like, blocks her out. Yeah. And so, like, after they have sex here, he was, like, I can just imagine him, like, all snuggled up in bed and like, him just, like, whispering, like, you know.
Oh, I also.
You're crazy to think, like, there'd be anyone else or something. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, and then, so, even though he doesn't say he loves her, but, like, he says, you already have me, you have everything I have to give, which is, like, essentially the same thing, and she, like, recognizes that. Yeah. Okay, this part, I wanted to point this out because I highlighted it this time and I forgot all about it until I just read it. So, she's saying something, like, she's, like, saying, like, oh, God, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then he's like... Yes! Okay, yes! Thank you. So, she says, oh, gods, and he says, which god are you calling out for? And then she says, you. And he literally says, I appreciate the elevation to deity. My name will do. Okay, this is my hang-up. Every other book, these fucking weird-ass narcissistic men that try to be badass are like, I'm your god. And I was like, thank you, Xaden, for being the only normal fucking human. And he's like, yeah. Like, he, like, makes fun of her kind of. Like, alright, thanks for, like, elevating me to, like, deity, but, like, I'm good. Yeah. Like, whatever. And I was like, thank you for this normalcy.
It's not like that fucking haunting Adeline when it was like, call me God.
Yes. So, because I just think it's so cringy, like, how big is your fucking ego? And I would argue Xaden has a pretty big fucking ego, and I was like...
But for good reason.
Thank you, Xaden. Anyway, so I just wanted to add that. I just saw it, and I was like, oh my god, I literally highlighted it, because I was like, if I didn't like him enough after this whole year of weird shit we've read, I was like, I was like refreshed. I was like, thank God. Yeah. So, Rebecca, thank you for adding that part. It was like a minute of my time, but it made my life that much better.
That and, like, whatever that fucking, you know, thing that was going around with the fucking recharging station and why? Why are we doing that, guys?
Oh, okay.
Authors, so now, don't do that.
So now this part I also love. So I mentioned this last recording that you never witnessed. Can you tell we're still mad about it? Anyways, so, just a little. I love a good friend group. Always.
Oh yeah, Jamie's like, big always. On the friend groups.
So they're having sex for like the 6th time now, whatever, and there's a knock on the door, and Xaden's like, get away.
Yeah.
Like
he's like, go. He literally is like, go away.
Oh, he says, go the fuck away. Amazing. He snarled. So perfect. That's exactly what I need. And like, you love that. Like when a man is like murderous because the sex you're having is so great
he's
that
so
like,
he's so focused. You
know?
That
he's like so into it that he's like, get out of here. And then someone's like, I'm sorry, whatever, and he's like, someone better be fucking dead. And then it's Garrick, and he's like, well, there's gonna be a lot of people dead because we're under attack. And so they like jump up, and he's like, oh my god, what?
What a fucking like
boner deflator.
Yeah.
And then so like, Xaden opens the door and, like, Violet, like, he can't see Violet. And Garrick is like, we better bring Sora and Gale too. Like, we need everyone. Which I just love that, like, again,
he just
I'm sorry.
knew.
Yeah, like, I love a best friend like that. That he's like, dude, I'm really fucking sorry. Like, fuck, like, I'm sorry to ruin your night. But I also love that, like, there was no one else. Even for, like, the friends. Like, it wasn't like, who's in there with you? Like, it was like, well, we know it's Violet.
Yeah.
And I love that trope. Like, I love just, like, everyone knowing, like, before they know kind of thing. Not before they know, but, like...
Yeah. Well, we also don't know, like, what Xaden has told them, obviously, because everything is from Violet's perspective, ATM, but, that changes.
Oh my god, someone better be dead if I get out of this bed, Garrick. I love them. Love them. So,
yeah. Well, now shit just hits the fan, and then you're like, fuck.
But there's, like, one last little cute moment of her wearing his jacket.
Oh, yeah. So, you know, after they've been ravishing this whole time, fucking Energizer bunnies these people are, he's like, oh, like, you're gonna be cold, so he gives her, like, his, like, what I would assume is, like, a varsity jacket in basket.
Amazing.
Like, his version of his varsity jacket.
Every fantasy come to life.
Yeah, literally. And so, you know, they're all walking out to where they need to be, and, like, Ree comes up, and she was like, oh, like, where you been, Missy? She was like, nowhere. And she was like, oh, well, whose jacket are you wearing? Because, to my knowledge, you're not a third year.
Or the
wing leader.
A fourth wing.
Oh my god, so good. And Violet's like, just like, shut up. Like, and she was like, and I love how Ree's like, well, was I good?
Yeah.
And Violet's
Ree's
like,
a girl's girl.
yeah, she is. So good. And like Dane walks over and like Ree just like casually puts her arm around her so like he doesn't see.
Covers the letters.
Yeah. Oh, she's so good. So good. Anyways, so we find out that it's the next installment of the War Games.
Yeah, they're a bunch of liars.
So this is where it gets real. They're splitting up. They have to go to like different places, and Dane is like, okay, Violet, you're coming with me. And then Xaden comes over and he's like, no, she's coming with me. And Dane's like, she's in my squad, like she has to come with me, blah blah blah. And Xaden's like, okay, well, you do know the situation here. Dragons mated us, also looped somehow because of this. He was like, she's coming with me. And Dane's like looking at Violet, and he's like pleading with her. He's like, please, like, come with me. And Violet's like, no. And
mind you, I didn't realize till the reread either. Fourth Wing was the only wing given a place to go. Everyone else got to pick what outpost they went to, which on the reread, I'm like, sketch.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. So, just to backtrack a little here, and it's like a kind of a spoiler. Again, we'll talk about it now, so it's not really a big deal. But at the ball, Dane had touched Violet's face and said, like, you look beautiful tonight. Dane's a sneaky piece of shit. I hate that. So
this was the ultimate betrayal.
Yeah. And so Dane, as Hallie's mentioning, is being, like, pleading, weird, a little sketchy. And as they're hugging goodbye, because Violet basically makes a spectacle and says, like, I pick Xaden, and he's like, you too? Like, there's been rumors about, like, what is wrong with you, whatever. So his pride is all down, and then so he hugs her and he says, like, I'm gonna miss you, Violet. He's gonna get you killed. And at first you're like, you know, like, is he saying goodbye to her romantically and, like, in general saying he'll get you killed?
Yeah.
And then as the book goes on, you're like, oh no, he meant, like
right
actually. Now. Like, right this second.
Yeah, like, actually, as soon as you get on your dragon, you're gonna die. Because essentially that's almost what happens.
Yeah.
Okay, so they fly to wherever they have to fly to. And they pull up to this abandoned, you know, outpost thing. And there's just, like, a little, like, envelope just sitting on a table.
Well, hold on. First, they go to the lake.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I forgot about that. They go to a lake. They have to stop because it's, like, a 2-day...
Like, water their dragon?
Yeah, it's, like, it's, like, a 2-day flight or something.
Yeah.
So they need to, like, you know, rest, drink some water, chill out. And they pull up at this lake, and a fucking group of Griffin riders...
who the war is against,
show up, and Violet's like already like she's like checking where her daggers are, and turns out they're friends with these fuckers. And then Violet starts thinking, and she's all of a sudden she starts fucking spiraling because now she's piecing together like, okay, Xaden is a son of the rebels, I'm with all children of the rebels. We're at this far remote location, and now there's Griffin Riders talking about the shipment that they haven't gotten yet from Xaden and his group. And she's like, what is going on here?
She thinks that Xaden's, like, aiding the other side in the war.
Yeah.
We come to find out that
it's not
everything in Nevaeh is a lie. Venin are real. These, like, dark energy wielders. And so...
the folklore...
all the folklore that, like, Violet knew from her dad and all that is real. And all of Nevaeh, like, the higher-ups know. And so they're giving the Griffin Riders weapons because their wards, the dragons made, keep the venin out. But they've essentially outcast all the Griffin Riders, and they're, like, battling and, like, losing. So Xaden and them are, like, helping them. And that's what the rebellion was about. And, like, they were like, fuck those people, they're not our own, and we're gonna keep ourselves safe. And so now Violet is, like... she went through a spiral thinking Xaden was a traitor. Now she's like, her whole life is a lie. Her mom, everything is a lie. It's all making a lot more sense as far as battle brief and stuff. And it's just, I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot to learn.
Definitely.
A 2-second thing.
And you're not even, at your part 2 of the war games.
Right. And so, basically, they're going to the outpost, and Xaden's like...
so Violet's, like, still kind of pissed, but she, like, understands.
Yeah. Like, he basically says, he's like, again, in Xaden fashion, is like, you can be mad at me all you want, but, like, do you believe me? And she's like, yeah. He's like, that's all I need. Like, before we go anywhere, like, I have a bad feeling about this now.
Yeah.
Art, do you believe this? And she's like, yes, I do.
Yeah.
So he's like, fine. Onward. Now you can go ahead.
Oh, God. So, yeah, they pull up. There's an envelope on the table. They open it. They read it. And they're like, oh, fuck. We're screwed. Basically, all the envelope said was, like, good luck surviving. Can you imagine? Could you imagine? And the next thing you know, they're under
Weavers.
attack. Yeah. So, the Weaverns are, like, I think of them as, like, possessed miniature dragons. Maybe not like miniature, but like
snake-ish to me in my head. Like,
really.
Do you watch House of Dragon or no?
Yeah.
So like Weaverns to me look more like Daemon's dragon, but with 2 legs, like long and like creepy.
Okay.
And then like Violet's dragon, like big beefy, like not like Granny Vagar because like she's like gross looking.
Yeah.
But like big, like stocky.
Okay.
Like almost like Daenerys dragons.
Gotcha. Okay.
And like then the Weaverns are more like daemons, like these sneaky, snaky little fucks.
Like slimy looking fuckers.
Yeah, but with 2 legs.
Gotcha.
Because dragons have 4.
Griffins also have 2, right? But they have the head of a lion, right?
No, I think they have 4 because you're like, I almost actually gallop like horses. I don't know. I'll Google it.
Whatever, it doesn't matter. They're under attack by these things.
Doesn't matter how many legs they have, they're under fucking attack.
And there's so many of them. Oh my god, they really get like ambushed. Like, there's what, 8 of them? 12 of them? At most?
There's mad Weaverns,
there's probably like 80 Weaverns, and then there's like 4 Venin that are there.
Yeah, bet. And like 2 can like level a city.
Yeah, exactly. So you're like, fuck. We're screwed. Basically, a lot of fighting. Lots of powers being thrown.
And they're looking for something they've discussed. We don't know what, but there's all kinds of shit going on.
Yeah, so, they're fighting, they're trying to do their thing, yada, 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 and then all of a sudden...
oh, man.
Liam's dragon is under attack. So Liam, like, jumped off his dragon to, like, jump onto a Weavern to, like, fight a Venin. And in the meantime...
that was, like, such, like, a...
and then in the meantime, a Weavern came and, like, grabbed his dragon by the throat. And is, like, fucking tearing into it. Now, as we know, if a dragon dies, the rider will die. So... long story short, Liam's dragon dies, and it's very upsetting. Mad emo. I was mad emo when this happened.
Bro, Liam's death scene was fucking brutal.
Yeah, it was. Because Liam was fine. Yeah, he got stabbed a couple times, but he would have lived.
Yeah, but because the dragon's dead, Violet says I'm watching this perfectly healthy person just die in front of me.
So she has.
Oh, I have the chills.
She has Liam on Tarn's back, and she's holding him in her lap, and she's like, "I'm so sorry," blah 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 blah, and Liam's like, "It's been an honor."
Ugh. And then, like, Xaden gets there.
Mm-hmm. And he, like, picks him up to walk him over to his dragon.
Right.
So they can be together.
And then...
when they die.
She says, like, I don't know, like, sorrowful, like, screaming, like, his soul is screaming, is, like, Xaden. And
yeah.
she, like, feels how, like, devastated he
is.
when
Liam dies.
Oh, God. Oh. Yeah, Liam was rough.
That was tough.
And then in that process of that whole fight, kerfuffle, that word's just fantastic.
Kerfuffle,
Anyways,
I know.
Such a good word. Violet was stabbed fighting a venin, and it had, like, green on it, so it's, like, a poison.
I think that was after. Because then she's fucking pissed. And she's like, Tarn, we're getting these fuckers. And he was like, yes, silver one.
Right, wow, good voice. Or maybe you are right, because, yeah, that was, like, in response to Liam's
because
death.
Then she's just like, pow, pow,
yeah, now
pow,
she's going for the fucking head.
What's that song? Dun, 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 bow, bow, bow. Yeah. What's her name? Oh.
Okay.
Whatever.
That was like a...
Somebody knows. Somebody out there knows what I'm talking about.
I hope they tell me, because I have no fucking idea.
I'm gonna find it and send it to you.
Please do. So yeah, now she's pissed, and she's, like, wielding lightning. She's, like, and Darna's helping her stop time, and it's, like, all this shit. Basically, if you kill a venin, all the Wyverns, because they, like, create them, they all die. So Violet, like, having Darna stop time, it, like, puts in Darna to her max, so she needs, like, sleep again after this. But, like, she's, like, moving lightning through the sky, kills the venin, the Wyvern are dead, and I think there's, like, one more, and that's when she gets stabbed.
Yeah, so, a venin, like, jumps onto Tarn's back, and so she's, like, fighting the venin. We also learned some vital information here. There's, like, she realizes that she's fighting, like, another student, so she's like, these fucking venin have, like, their own college out here, like what is going on?
Teacher, it's like the sage.
Yeah, and then the sage, at the end, he gets away, but everyone else gets killed. So Violet's fighting this venin, and the venin stabs her, like, in the side, and she realizes that, like, oh, that was poison. She was like, oh, like, how funny, like, me, a master of poisons, being killed by a poison. Right. So she ends up killing the venin.
Yeah,
or something.
Or, the battle is lost, and the sage, like, flees.
Yeah, so they take down all of the venin. All the Wyverns die, but the sage is able to escape.
I will open for our ending.
He escapes, and then... Well, now this is the crazy part. So then Violet blacks out because she's overtaken by the poison. And she wakes up in a room that's not her room. Yes. In an unknown place, in an unfamiliar landscape.
Also Xaden's point of view.
This chapter is also Xaden's point of view. I love how the last chapter is the Xaden point of view.
Always.
So good.
Yeah.
And essentially, here's the cliffhanger of the lifetime for Fourth Wing.
Basically, Xaden starts talking to her when she's up, and he says, like, I only breathe when you breathe. Like, I mean, just true fucking romance. Mind you, they start kissing and shit, and she remembers, like,
everything.
That he lied, and then she, like, shoves him off, and I was like, oh, we could have just, like,
I know.
forgiven him, whatever. So it turns out they're in Arita? I don't know how to say
I thought it was Aricia.
Sure, that sounds much better than what I'm saying.
Aretia? Aritia? Anyways, they're
in
Xaden's country.
Yeah, like,
his territory.
His land. So, basically, they said, like, you know, when the rebels fell, like, they burned it all, and he's like, yeah, we're still here.
Well, they did burn it all, but because there was such a large group of, like, all the marked ones together, you know, no one could see what they were doing. So they started, like, rebuilding their land.
Right.
Right under the noses of all the generals of Navarre.
Right. So, like, they're chatting, and he's like, ask me, like, whatever you want. And then Xaden says, basically, like, so she is talking to him, and he said, you have 20 seconds before, like, he comes in. Yeah. And we're like, who's he? And then so Violet says, I'm still hoping that missive at Althelbine was really about the War Games, which is the place they were just in when the venin attacked. Do you think there's any chance we just happen to end up in the middle of a Wyvern attack at an outpost? And, like, that was the question she asked, which I feel like, weird question, like, that we know that's not true, but fine, Violet, be ignorant. And then all you hear is, that definitely wasn't an accident, little sister. And fucking Brennan is alive and well and just walks right on.
Guess who's back? Back again.
And he says, "Welcome to the revolution, Violet." Amazing.
That's the last sentence.
Ends. Honestly, Rebecca Yarrow crushes it with cliffhangers.
Yeah, she does. They suck, but they're good.
So yeah, so book one, I mean, honestly, book one is big. Aside from, like, the joking
A lot of
AI,
stuff happens in those 500 pages.
Like, I was fully locked in. I love a pilot book.
Same.
Again, first kiss, first sex, the world building, like, this book was, like, wow, it had everything I needed in it.
For sure.
Yeah. Book two, I remembered a lot of book one. I forgot a lot about book two. Now that we're rereading it, I'm, like, back in.
Yeah, I forget how, like, everything connects.
Yeah, book two gets even crazier.
But I remember, like, the big general things that happen.
Yeah, and so now, I mean, we know basically the whole world that you knew in book one is, like, a lie. So, like, you're, like, relearning it. Which is similar to, like, to a lot of fantasy books, right? Like, the blight in ACOTAR wasn't a blight, and it's, like, actually, like, hibern. Like, so I like that, because I like when the main character is ignorant to something, and you learn it along with them. I think it's, like, a great, like, literary tool that, like, because then, like, they're getting explained to them, and you're, like, learning with them.
Whereas opposed, like, they already know, and it's, like...
telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I like to be on the same playing field as, like, the narrator. So, yeah, so now we're heading into book two. Get ready. We will discuss that next week. Hopefully all is going well. And then we're just diving right into Onyx Storm, which is so crazy. We're going to have a lot of more theory in the Iron Flame episodes.
Onyx Storm is going to be a fucking manic shit show, so just beware.
And Onyx Storm isn't even, like, that's not the last book. So, like, we'll have more theories. I was reading something, so, like, this happens every time there's a book release. Books come out, like, in Target, all of them are on the shelves, like, 3 days early, whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't see any spoilers, so I'm avoiding them at all costs, but apparently I saw, like, a meme, and it was, like, someone said, like, Onyx Storm, like, ends, like, fucked up again. And I was like, God damn it.
Okay, but, like, we knew that was gonna happen.
Yeah,
like, I expected
there
that.
hasn't been any book that ends
normal.
Well, mind you, I've been sending Hallee a bunch of, like, shit, which I'll talk about probably more in the Iron Flame episodes, but, like, Onyx Storm is Rebecca Yarrow's favorite book. She's like, you guys will be in pain. I'm very sorry. Also,
somebody definitely has to die.
Yeah, I'm also pretty sure, just based on, like, certain, like, interviews, I think Rebecca Yarrow is, like, a Swiftie, so she's, like, you know, comparing things, which I'm not super...
I saw that, yeah. I'm not
super aware of it, but, like,
I know
Onyx
nothing.
Storm is, like, the Reputation era, which is, like, that, like, it's, like, that dark album.
Don't even know.
Not, like, dark, but it's, like, bad bitch album, so I'm, like, a little nervous about that.
I've never listened to it. I don't know.
Like,
I don't even know what the cover art looks like.
Ooh, look what you made me do. You know that song?
That's Taylor Swift.
Yeah. So, like, that album is what Rebecca Yarrow was comparing Onyx Storm to. So that's
interesting.
Yeah. So, anyways, we sound really uneducated about that, because we are. It makes sense, I promise, to someone listening. So, yeah. So, we will see you guys next week for Iron Flame. We'll
Part
give
one.
Yeah, the rundown of what we're covering in that episode. But it's going to be a doozy. We'll have, like, a lot of main recap, like, plot points, and then, like, theorizing as we gear up for Onyx Storm. And then, we'll be reading that in, like, a day, so we'll let you know how it goes.
I'm booked this weekend. Don't talk to me.
Don't talk to us. Yeah. Alright, well...
Not even, I guess, Wednesday. I'm booked Wednesday.
Yeah. So we'll see you guys then. Bye.
Bye. Ciao.
See you next week. I'm scared.
That was...
Kids, this is for all. Oh,
Girl,
God.
what?
I think I'm just
Cut!